Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're not roasting bad theology or street preachers, we're going deep. I want to explain why I am a theist and why I think you should be too. So I grew up Catholic, but like a lot of Gen Z, I drifted away as a teenager. It wasn't rebellion, it was just more like silence. God felt distant, the world felt loud. At 18, I then started asking the deeper questions. Not is religion true, but something even more raw. Does life have meaning? I found Nietzsche and Camus fascinating. Nietzsche talked about the death of God, and Camus called life an absurd struggle. And honestly, without God, they kind of make sense. Because if there is no God, then human beings are cosmic accidents. There's no objective meaning, no purpose. And if there's no higher moral law, then what actually makes murder, rape, or betrayal wrong? It's just evolution and neurons, right? Now think about this. If someone tortures a child just for fun and there is no God, who says it's objectively wrong? We can feel it's evil, but without a moral lawgiver, that's just preference. Without God, life is like Minecraft on hardcore mode. No respawn, no purpose, just survival. And worse, no reason why you matter. But scripture says you were made in the image of God. That's where our value comes from. You're not stardust, you're handcrafted. People think science and faith can't go together, but most of the modern scientific revolution was built by theists. Copernicus, Newton, Kepler, they are all believers. Even Einstein said science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Faith and science aren't enemies. They're like two tools in the same toolbox. One explores the how, the other the why. Now, let's go into specifics. Let's go over a few of the reasons why I came to believe that God's existence isn't just emotionally comfortable, it is rational. So firstly, the moral argument. If morality is real, like actually real, then it has to come from something beyond human opinion. You don't need religion to know right from wrong, but without God, you can't explain why things are wrong. Murdering a child isn't just a bad vibe, it is evil. And evil presupposes good. And good needs a source that's beyond our changing culture or biology. The source is God, the standard of good itself. So then people can have objections like, morality evolved, we don't need God for it. Yeah, evolution explains how we feel moral impulses, not whether they're true. Evolution can give you empathy, but it can also justify survival of the fittest. If morality is just a survival strategy, then it's not actually right, it's just useful. Big difference. Atheists can be moral too. Totally agree, but this argument isn't about who can be moral, it's about why morality exists in the first place. The question isn't can atheists be good people, it's what makes something good at all. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, so the universe must have a cause. This isn't just theology, this is logic, and science backs it up too. The Big Bang wasn't just an explosion in space, it was the origin of space, time, and matter itself. So whatever caused it must be outside of all those things. Think about that. Timeless, spaceless, immaterial, powerful. Sounds like God. If everything needs a cause, then what caused God? Classic, but the Kalam doesn't say everything needs a cause, it says everything that begins to exist needs one. God by definition never began, he's the uncaused cause, or else you're stuck in infinite regress. Maybe the universe caused itself. That's like saying a book wrote itself before it existed. Something can't cause itself, it has to exist before it exists. That is nonsense. This argument doesn't prove Christianity, but it gets you to a creator. This one is more philosophical, but bear with me. If it is possible that a maximally great being exists, all-powerful, all-good, necessary, then he exists in some possible world. But if he exists in any possible world, he must exist in all, including ours. That's the logic. It's weird at first, but it's like proving that the idea of God isn't just possible, it is unavoidable. Sounds like a logic puzzle, but it's deep. If God's existence is even possible, then his non-existence is impossible, because a necessary being either exists in all possible realities or in none. You can define anything into existence that way. Not really. Try it with a perfect taco. You'll run into a wall because a taco isn't something that could logically exist in all possible worlds. God, being necessary and unbounded, fits that framework. A taco doesn't. It's just mental gymnastics, it doesn't prove anything real. Yeah, it's abstract, but logic is how we discover real truths all the time. Math, geometry, metaphysics. You can't just dismiss an argument because it's quote-unquote deep. This one's underrated. Basically, everything around us exists, but it didn't have to. Planets, atoms, you, all contingent. The question is, why is there something rather than nothing? The explanation can't be another contingent thing, it has to be a necessary being, something that exists by its very nature. That's what God is, the foundation of all existence. Everything around us, stars, atoms, you, me, didn't have to exist. So why do they? The answer can't be another maybe thing. There has to be a must behind it all. Maybe the universe is just brute fact. Sure, you can say that, but it's a conversation stopper. Imagine asking why your computer turned on and someone goes, no reason, it just did. It doesn't satisfy the curiosity or logic. Couldn't the multiverse explain it all? Even if it exists, the multiverse still needs a cause. You just push the question back. A multiverse of contingent things still requires something necessary to explain why it exists at all. This one hit me hard. If all we are is matter, then your thoughts, including the one you're having right now, are just brain chemistry. But brain chemistry doesn't produce reason, it produces reactions. Yet you and I are having a rational conversation about truth. That doesn't make sense unless there's something beyond matter, something like a rational soul. And if we're more than meat and neurons, who gave us that? If you're just meat and electricity, your thoughts are not true, they're just reactions, but here you are analyzing ideas not instinctively but logically. That points to something non-physical. The brain can explain consciousness. That's like saying wires explain Netflix. The brain might be the hardware, but consciousness is the software. Neuroscience describes correlation, not cause. There's no evidence of a soul, but there's also no material explanation for why you feel like you. Science can map neurons, but it can't explain subjective experience. The you behind your eyes. Consciousness isn't reducible, it points to something more. Each of these arguments on their own is compelling. Together they're a fortress, not airtight in every angle, but they show that believing in God isn't just faith, it's logic following evidence to its most honest conclusion. I'm not a theist because I'm scared of death, I'm a theist because I found the truth, and when you find truth, you can't just walk away from it. I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, said C.S. Lewis. Not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. God explains reality better than nothing does, and when He enters your life, things that felt empty start to make sense. Now maybe you're thinking, why should I even care, bro? Let me live my life, you do your thing, I'll do mine. I'm young, I just wanna party and chill. And I get it, that was me too. But there's the thing, even when you're not thinking about the big questions, you're still living them. Every time you make a moral decision, what's right, what's wrong, you're acting like those things matter. But where does that sense of morality even come from? We just take it for granted like Wi-Fi. We use it all day but don't know who's paying the bill. And the truth is, time's ticking. 1 out of 1 people dies. You don't have eternity to think about eternity. Sooner or later, these questions will catch up to you. And the longer you wait, the easier it is to just drown in distractions. But there's something even deeper. When we walk away from theism, especially in the West, we're walking away from our roots. The very values we brag about. Human rights, dignity, freedom, they were shaped by Judeo-Christian foundations. If we trade that in for emptiness or for ideology of the weak stuff, we don't just lose tradition, we lose ourselves. And history shows us when people forget who they are, something else steps in and defines them. In conclusion, if you're wondering if life has meaning, you're not alone. I asked the same question, and when I followed it to the end, I found God. And that's why I am a theist, and you should be too.